Hey everybody. So, like I said, I'm going to be posting more stuff. We're going to be kind of diving into stuff. Before we dive down, and I know I say stuff a lot, so just to get that out of the way, stuff. Then I'm done saying stuff. Oh, whoops. Said it again. Anyway. Oh, we got a friend. Hey, buddy. Here, I'll introduce you guys. He doesn't want to come up right now. But that is Yoshi. And so what we're going to be focusing on is authenticity and what it means to be authentic and how you find authenticity. Okay, so this is something that I'm still going through. I think everyone is. It's not like, eureka, I found it. It's kind of like a self-exploration journey. And I feel like we need to know what that looks like. We need to understand what that looks like. Whether you're a psychic worker or whether you're doing anything, being authentic is definitely the first way to find happiness, at least the way I see it, right? So I'm just going to share my points, my views, and also I'm reading this from an article. I'm going to link the article in the video down below, but I just liked what this was saying so much that I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to make a video for you guys because some people don't have time to read. And so I feel like this is something where you can kind of just be listening to it. Hopefully you take some of it in, and if you don't, you can always just listen to it again, so it's not a big deal. So with that, let's start here on this. Let me get to the top here. Sorry, guys. Okay. So we have... I'm just going to move this over. So we have how to find your authentic self. Learn to meet your own physical needs. So the first thing that we're going to be going into is we're going to learn to meet our own physical needs. And I'll explain that here in just a second. Okay? What does meeting your physical needs have to do with finding your authentic self? The two may seem completely unrelated, but I believe one is a prerequisite for the other. A big part of finding your authentic self is finding out what you like. What brings you joy? What brings you happiness? And the answer is nothing as long as you are not making your physical well-being a priority. People pleasers are so focused on other people and meeting other people's needs that they often neglect to take care of themselves. Taking on too much, not getting enough rest, failing to set aside time for exercise or cooking healthy meals. Sorry, you guys, I'm going to read right here. But here's the thing, your authentic self will not emerge if you are sleep deprived and stressed out. You can give yourself all the authentically you activities in the world, but if your body is not feeling well, your mind won't feel well either. I'm sorry, you guys. Trying to get this going. Okay. So start giving your body some love. Make your physical well-being a priority. Make your body a vessel that your authentic self can thrive in. So to me, you guys, this means that we're focusing on letting ourselves enter a state of just kind of exploration, sort of like how you would be on, like in a vacation setting or in a new kind of environment. You sort of explore the environment, you sort of understand that. So that's sort of the mentality that we're going into when we're finding our authentic selves. It's not about doing things right or wrong, because those are labels that really don't exist, especially with this. It's about just sort of understanding what feels right to you, okay? And it gets easier to understand what feels right to you once we understand what it is that we're looking for exactly, right? I feel like some of us, it's like we're wandering through a desert and there's no water to be seen. We know we're looking for water. We know we're looking for something to drink. That's our authenticity. That's our truth. But we don't know where to find it. We don't know where it could possibly be in this vast place. And so having some guidelines, having some help on how to do that, it makes it easier for us. So we have this. So number 2, give yourself space. Finding your authentic self requires inward focusing at yourself for a while. This may sound obvious to some, but it can be incredibly hard for people who have spent their entire lives focused on other people's needs and demands. To make it a tiny bit easier, I hereby give you permission to do these two things. Guys, I give you permission to, okay? Just so that's out of the way. Just so you guys are like, okay, I got permission. Okay, so we've got distance yourself from the people who destroyed your authentic self, okay? You will not find your authentic self among the people who destroyed it in the first place. When your authentic self first emerges from the ground, it will be a fragile seedling, and you don't need narcissists and abusers stepping on it and destroying it all over again. Your authentic self will need nurturing care, so distance yourself from the people who are not capable of giving you just that. I'm trying to get this right so the light isn't flickering. Distance yourself from people who are not capable of giving you just that. It may be that you just need to distance yourself temporarily until your authentic self is strong and mature enough to withstand the pressure, but sometimes the only way to move forward is by permanently cutting ties to your painful past. And that's something that we've discussed in other videos, but never feel sorry for getting rid of what no longer serves you. And sometimes it's people, sometimes it's relationships. But ultimately, we're not getting rid of the person. We're getting rid of what no longer serves us in the relationship. We don't want to be ignored. We don't want to feel less than. We want to feel like we're a part of a relationship that we're having with the person. We don't want to feel like we're a tool that's being used. We want to feel like we're someone who is... trying to think of the words here. We don't want to feel like a tool to the person. We want to feel like someone who is respected and someone who is given the kind of treatment that you would want to have given. Like you're respecting the person, but if they're not respecting you, end that relationship, okay? Because generally the empath narcissist connection, we hold on to relationships that are narcissistic and toxic for way too long. And then when we start to stand up for ourselves and dissolve them, the toxicity that comes from the narcissist is... well, it's not fun to experience, okay? So it just takes a lot of getting to know what feels right and what doesn't. And if you're feeling disrespected or if you're feeling angry or resentful around these kinds of people, then you'll know instinctively what's not feeling right. And it feels good when you start setting yourself free and you start saying, I don't want to be around people that make me feel bad or shitty or whatever it happens to be. Okay, so this one here. Set aside time for yourself. You also need to give yourself time to explore. You are literally going on a quest, an expedition, a treasure hunt, and it will take time. You need time to read, to ponder, to try new things. If you are sharing your life with loved ones, the non-abusive kind, let them know what you are doing and why you need to take some time for yourself right now. They love and want what's best for you, so they will understand. And that's something where you can find if someone's a narcissist or not. If you say, I need time to figure myself out, and they look at you and they're like, well, what about me? What about, and they try to guilt you into feeling bad about leaving for a minute, then those are people that have stronger narcissistic tendencies, because it's like they're saying, well, what about me? Like, yeah, you're going through something, but if you leave me, well, what about me? What about, except for children being the exception here, like be there for your children as much as you can. But when it comes to friends and acquaintances, if it's all about what about me, when you're talking about things that are going on in your life and they're trying to quickly change the conversation to be something about their life, and they're just sort of doing passive, not even listening, they're just sort of waiting for you to get done talking so that they can talk about their life, and they don't really give it, they don't really care about you. Those are the kinds of people I'm talking about when we're distancing ourselves from. Open yourself up to the possibilities. You have been taught that there is only one right way to be. If you think of yourself as an outfit you wear, then they handed you one uniform and told you to mold your body to fit that uniform, even if it was too big or too small or too itchy for your body. Okay, this one is huge. Okay, labels make it so that we say we are this, we are that. And in actuality, it makes it very difficult for us to be anything that we can be that way. Like, I want you to think of it like this. If you're someone who is trying to, like, you're not happy with the labels life has given you and you're trying to change them, and there's people resisting that change, those are people that need to go anyway. Because as people, we are allowed to grow, we're allowed to flourish in any way that we see fit. If we're not feeling happy, guess what? It's up to us to find that happiness again. That's always, always, always how it's supposed to be. But a lot of people are stuck in the mindset that, well, you said you were this yesterday, and it's like, yes, because that's how I was feeling yesterday. It's like we're changing, we're always evolving, and when we're doing that, we don't have time to put up with people that are being inauthentic, and that becomes more true the longer we go on this path. You'll start to be able to understand what that looks like more, because I know right now it can be very confusing. So that's why I'm making this video, because when I was starting my journey into this, authenticity was something I didn't understand what it meant, and this is going to sound really weird, but I was too scared to read up on it. I was too scared to learn about it, because I felt like the information could possibly be wrong, or I felt like I was doing it wrong. That when you start your authenticity journey, it's this thing where you're very, very, very vulnerable. It says here you're fragile. To me, it's much, much bigger than that. It's like you're stepping out into a new skin, and it's very sensitive to everything, and you're going into the hot sun. Okay, and you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing, and everything is a lot more stressful than it needs to be, because number one, we're saying our old self no longer serves us. Okay, that part's true. But the second part is we don't know what our new self looks like, and so we're kind of walking around naked and afraid. Okay, and I'm pretty sure there's a TV show on that, but we're walking around and we're just trying to find what makes us happy. We're trying to find what brings us joy, and we have no idea what the hell it is. We have no idea, and when we do that, it's the bravest thing we can do, but it's also the scariest thing we can do at the same time. And it takes time to kind of let ourselves breathe and get used to new things, okay? But labels are the enemy. That's something I found out. For instance, what I've been going through on my journey with the mediumship and the healing, the energy healing, is I'm a pretty good energy healer. Okay, I'm not saying that in a boastful way. I'm saying I know that's one of my talents that I have. But when it comes to psychic and mediumship skills, I'm not nearly as prevalent as I should be. But I wanted to be someone where I could call myself a psychic, a medium, an energy healer, and have these labels and these titles, when really all that matters is that I'm helping people, and I don't need to have those labels and titles. It doesn't do me any good. Like if it's, oh, well, here comes Chance, he's a PhD, and he's this, and he's that, and I've got all these things, but it doesn't make me happy, because it's not who I am. And when I go to the great beyond, I'm not going to take those titles with me, because that's not what it's about. It's about helping people, and it's about putting yourself in a position where you can help people. And I feel like labels self-aggrandize us into being something that we're not. It's kind of like an ego trap in a lot of ways. Labels can be good for sure, but they also limit us with our learning, because when we label ourselves, we're saying, okay, well, any other label that directly opposes the label that we have is false. And that makes it so that there's fighting, and there's all this kind of inner conflict that doesn't need to be there, because we've attached our identity to a label. Okay, so let's look at the rest of this. But whoever taught you that there is only one uniform was wrong, narrow-minded, and oh so wrong. Okay, so this person's talking about ourselves, our identity being a uniform. Okay, we're given one shot at life, and maybe we're born Catholic. Okay, we didn't make that choice, but we're born Catholic. Maybe we're born a man, we want to be a woman. Again, I feel like we made that choice in before we came here, but I feel like when we got here, there's a sense of I didn't make this choice, and I want to be what I want to be. Okay, when society gives you one suit, one way of being, and you try to go against that and try to find your own happiness, other people are going to think that you're crazy. Other people are going to think that you're a nut job, because you don't feel right. You don't feel right in who you are, and other people are going to be like, oh, well, I don't feel that way. I feel fine. And they're going to feel like maybe you're being presumptuous. Maybe you're trying to be better than them. And it's like, no, I'm just trying to find myself. I'm just trying to find who I am. If you guys are happy being what you are, great. But for me personally, I have another path I want to take, and that is okay. That's the whole point of this, is that it's about taking a path that we want to take and not feeling bad about that, okay? So we have this. There are actually more than 7 billion right ways to be human, okay? Which I absolutely believe there are, because everyone's different. And you're going to find that with psychic work too, with mediumship work, with artists, bakers, music makers. It sounded better when I was thinking. Anyway, but we're going to be people that do things differently. Everyone does something differently to make them, okay? Otherwise, if someone passes away, someone dies, there's a sense of sadness because they were unique. We felt close to them. There's a sense of like, okay, I'm going to miss them. That's sort of what I'm talking about. That thing that makes us unique is supposed to be there, and we're supposed to feel unique. We're not supposed to downplay it. We're not supposed to feel bad about it. We're supposed to embrace it and love it and learn to enjoy who we are uniquely, because no one else is us, okay? And we can't compare ourselves to anyone else because no one else is us. It would be weird if there was 3 other chances that we're trying to be me, right? But nobody is trying to be me but me, okay? And the only kind of comparison we should make is to ourselves each day on if we feel like we did a little bit better today than we did yesterday. And that's it, because that's what causes self-improvement, and that's what kind of lights that fire within us. So we have this here. So let's look at it like this. So pretend that you are going shopping for a new way to be. If you were looking for new clothes that fit better than your old uniform, you would walk around the stores and see what else is out there. Browse the racks for an outfit that fits you better than the uniform you were handed, an outfit that doesn't scratch or constrict, an outfit in which you can move through the world in comfort, an outfit you will be proud to wear, like it was custom made just for you. So go shopping for a new way to be with your eyes and mind wide open. Who could you be? What variations of human are there? To begin answering these questions, see the post below. Hold on. Okay, that's another part. So I'm going to go here. For many people, the purpose of personality tests and self-awareness exercises is simply to bring their authentic self to the forefront of their consciousness and to give them words to describe it. These people may already be living mostly in alignment with their authentic selves, and the tests and exercises simply reinforce what's already there. For people who have been taught that there is only one right way to be, learning about personality variations can serve as an eye-opener in terms of what is possible. Look, there are many ways to be, and they are all okay. What inborn personality traits could you have? What are the natural strengths and weaknesses that might be yours? So basically they're talking about we're given a sense of self from a young age, and we're either going to see that sense of self is accepted or not accepted, okay? In narcissistic families, we're going to see that more than likely, the more different you are than your family, you're going to see that it's not accepted. So certain things that you like to do, you're going to feel that there's a sense of exclusion. And that's that's a huge reason why we find it difficult for ourselves to, I'm sorry you guys, this is flickering. I'm seeing it in the video, so I'm trying to get this right. Give me just 1 second. Okay, so what I was saying is that we're going to be looking at family dynamics. We're going to be looking at the more unique and authentic you were when you were younger. Generally, a narcissistic family unit is going to disregard that. So if you were someone who's very shy, that's going to be disregarded. There's going to be shame and there's going to be guilt wrapped around that. And when it comes to narcissism, some point that I wanted to make was, I feel as though when we're raised in a narcissistic environment, our parents don't understand us, our siblings don't understand us, and it's like they're making us feel bad for being us. That's a situation where I feel like there's a lot of healing that needs to be done, okay? That's why it's hard to find our authentic selves, is because we were brought up in that environment. But doing this also enables us to allow ourselves to grow and to learn. I might just turn this off. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. So the main point that I'm trying to make is that if we're raised a certain way, we lose our sense of authenticity because we were never granted the ability to express it in a positive environment. So that's what we're doing now. That's why you're watching this, is because we're looking at ways to find ourselves now when we're older, okay? And yeah, it sucks growing up in that kind of environment, but it's also very exciting to go through this and discover ourselves when we're older. I think that it's really cool that we actually have the opportunity and the ability to do this, and I don't think there's any love loss here. I think it stinks that we went through something that was very difficult and hard, but at the same time, we can always change and we can always reinvent, and our life lessons are different for everyone. Maybe we wouldn't be on this journey of self-discovery if we were raised in a normal environment. Because we are people that are of a higher vibration, it makes it so that we have more difficult lives, usually. And it's not a bad thing because it's preparing us for something. It's helping us grow, and it's helping us learn. Okay, so try on different selves. Want to know why I'm 100% certain that I'm an introvert? I know. Because when I was leading an extrovert's lifestyle, I was miserable. But ever since I allowed myself to turn inward more, I have felt a gazillion light years better, both physically and mentally. Want to know why I'm 100% certain I'm at my best when working by myself and for myself? I know, because when I was an employee working within an organization, I was stressed and drained all the time. But ever since I started doing solitary work with only myself to answer for, I have felt relaxed and productive. Want to know why I'm 100% certain I'm more interested in feelings than in things? I know, because when I try to read books about technical topics, I doze off within a few minutes, but when I read self-help books, I'm so engrossed I lose track of time. So we're going to be going into this. So trial and error. As if you were trying on outfits, try on different activities and lifestyles and ways of being until you find the pieces that fit you the best. Try reading books on different topics. Try new hobbies and activities. Try being with different types of people. Try being alone. So this is a really important part, and this is actually the fun part. So when we're going out and we're experiencing life differently, like we're actually going out and we're trying to find parts of ourselves that we feel like we've lost, what's important for us to learn is that when you're doing something and you really don't like it, that's going to be a clue to things you're going to like later on. So when we're building up a library of things that we don't like, it makes it so that when we do like something, we know what that feels like because we've gone through a bunch of things we didn't like. And so then we understand what it feels like to like something. And there's sort of this attraction that goes on. And that's where we start to find ourselves. That's where we start to really understand that part of us. So that's the fun part. If you're finding things you're doing and you don't like them, you can always change it. And that's the fun part because then that means that you're on track to finding something you will like later on. So try a bunch of different things. Try reading books, try taking pictures, try going hiking, try going skiing, try new and different things. See what you like, see what you don't like. And always when you're liking something, have that be kind of a ground that you stand on where you're like, this is good. I'm liking this. Don't define yourself with it. Don't have it be the thing that defines you as a person, but just enjoy it. Be in the moment. And we'll go from there. Okay. Your authentic self is not some magical being you will find in your past. Your authentic self is in the present, in what makes you feel well today, in the here and now. Okay? And you will find your authentic self by experimenting in the here and now. Follow these 3 guidelines. Ignore what you can do well. Note that what you are good at is not the best clue at this point. You will not find your authentic self in the skills you have acquired to please other people. Some of your current skills may match your natural strengths or they may not. So are you someone who, if you're really good at people pleasing but you don't enjoy doing it, that's what they're talking about, okay? If you're really good at doting on everyone and having them treat you like shit, okay? If you're really good at that, that's not your authentic self. That's a sense of self you built up to serve others in a way where it wasn't reciprocative. I think that's the right word. But it's a way that you're helping other people. You're giving your life force to these other people, but they're not giving you anything in return. And they just take and take and take. And it's okay to give life force and to get life force back because that's what we need. It's kind of like your phone, for instance. When you're on your phone and you're using an app or you're doing something else, you're looking at the app, but in order for you to be able to look at it, it drains a little bit of your battery on your phone, and then you have to recharge the phone with a cord. Okay, that's kind of what we're at now. You need to have something that recharges you, and hopefully it's in what you're doing. Hopefully it's in that area that you're in with these people. You can feel recharged and you can feel better about things instead of feeling really, really bad and feeling lethargic and feeling like, oh, well, that was horrible. That's what I'm talking about. Follow what makes you feel well. Instead of following what you can do well, it's more informative to follow what makes you feel well. Okay, so feeling well for a lot of us, including me out there, feeling well is a sense of lightness. Feeling well is a sense of like ease, especially I feel like in the chest area. It's a feeling of like I can relax. That's what feeling well is. For a lot of us, it's hard for us to feel what relaxation is because we don't do it. The only time we relax is when we sleep and we're not conscious of it. So it makes it hard for us to know what relaxing feels like. So you're looking at being able to just kind of breathe. You're looking at being able to just sort of relax the muscles, the body. And those are things that you like to do. Things where you're having fun, you're smiling, it's not hurting anyone. And even if it's unproductive, okay, even if it feels unproductive, but if it's something you enjoy doing and it helps you and it relaxes you, I would say do it, right? So let's see. When you are acting in opposition to your authentic self, you are putting on an act. And putting on an act takes effort. It's tiring and stressful. It's uncomfortable. Even if you are used to it and you've been doing it a long time, it feels off. You are not content. When you are being with alignment with your authentic self, there may be an initial period of awkwardness, as there is with anything new. But the prevalent feeling is peace and calm, a natural flow, contentment, excitement, a knowing that you are doing the right thing for you. Push through the feelings of guilt and selfishness. Peace and calm and flow and guilt. Yes. So this is a huge, huge thing. A lot of us feel guilty for being ourselves, which is something that we're not used to feeling. We feel like if we enter into an authentic agreement with ourselves, which to me is saying, I'm going to let myself be me, we feel like we could let other people down. We feel like we're being selfish. And when you go from a people-pleasing mentality to being authentic, it's going to feel that way because the way you were doing things before, you were going so far out of your own self and your own comfort zone, and you were making people feel, so good. You were making people feel this and this and this. When you start to focus on yourself a lot more, it's going to feel really weird. It's going to feel like you're doing something wrong. That's what the awkwardness that they're talking about. You're going to feel like you're hurting people when really you're not. You're allowing yourself to be authentic, and you don't need to pick up on the needs of other people all the time. You don't need to do that. I have another video I can link down below. But trust me, when we're experiencing our authentic selves at first, it feels foreign. And a narcissistic person will be able to come in and tell you what you're doing wrong. But trust me, you're doing it right. You just have to let yourself be your authentic self and kind of find things out. And when we do energy healing, that's what we're focusing on, is we're bringing in that authentic self. And when we're bringing that in, it can be awkward at times, but that's part of the process. Real change, real results come from there being kind of a growing period, kind of an awkward period, but it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It means we're becoming closer to authenticity, not farther away from it. Okay. I grew up in an environment where tangible acts of service and tangible results were valued. Cooking, cleaning, fixing. The world that my authentic self is most comfortable in. The world of abstract ideas was not tangible and therefore not valuable. You can't eat it or touch it or see it. This is actually really, really powerful. I'm liking this. Am I being selfish? Am I being a selfish person for wanting to do something that feels good to me? These questions flood my mind for a moment. But what I have come to realize is that these questions are not coming from me. These are the voices of the past, and I don't need to let them dictate my actions today. So as I sit down at my desk to write, I tell myself, no, I shouldn't do the tangible things first, and no, I won't let the guilt stop me. Someone else's authentic self thrives on a sparkling kitchen sink and folded laundry. My authentic self thrives on the words I put together to make sentences. My act of service is in feeding people's minds, not their bodies. To arrive at my peace and calm, I need to break through the wall of guilt I was trained to feel. And that's what you need to learn to do. Maybe you were trained to be practical when your authentic self wants to delve in dreams or ideas. Or maybe you were trained to be academic when your authentic self just wants to use their hands. Either way, push through the feelings of guilt and let yourself do whatever makes you feel well. Know when you have arrived. Your authentic self is a sum of many parts. You won't find all the parts at once. They will come to you one at a time. And one day, you will have found enough parts to feel whole. Maybe not all the parts, but enough. Enough to know what makes you feel good. Enough to know where moments of hope and happiness can be found. Enough to know that you are on the right path for you. And that it's your path you are following, nobody else's. So that's the video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be doing more stuff like this. I just feel like this kind of stuff is very important. I know it's a bit of a longer video, but just have it on in the background. I should have said that at the beginning, because saying it now seems kind of weird. But have it on, and just let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Talk about stories, talk about things. I want this to be a community, so talk about things, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. But I love you guys. I want you to take care and be looking out for my next video. And like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And I hope to be talking to you guys again very soon. Take care.